Marcel today, Austin Hewlett. Is it Niall Berry? I think it's a Niall. All right. We got Ricardo Jimenez. We got Niels Rankin. He's got the Jack and Jones shirt on. We got Sean. He's here to arrest anybody that's playing small. He's our resident cop of the Elliott Group. We got Jimmy. We got Tyler. We got Leo. We got Christian Durant. As always, he's ready to go hard. Fernando. We'll get right into this, guys. I've got some things on my heart, and I sit down and I design training, and I design, hey man, what do I think, Bailey needs to hear today? What do I think Austin needs to hear today? And, some of the times I say the same shit over and over. And then some of the times, man, I'm going through the same thing as you guys, and I'm constantly reminding myself. So, I'm constantly coaching myself. I'm constantly telling myself how to dream big, and I'm constantly kind of going through a certain framework. And so today I thought, man, Ian, how do you get to your next level? And I thought about just coaching myself live on here. So I'm just going to coach me. And I'm going to let you guys into what my mind is thinking today. And I didn't write down like a long framework. I just wrote down what I'm thinking. I just wrote down what I'm thinking. I just wrote down what I'm tapping into. I just wrote down my weaknesses. I just wrote down my strengths. I just wrote down how I'm going to break through the next level. So this conversation is for you, but it's also just for me, man. And what I've been able to do over the last 15 years in sales, I've never been in a company where I haven't shattered the record, not by a little, but by miles. I'm very competitive. I don't like to feel like I'm not standing out, like I'm not doing something big. I'm very hard on myself. I go to bed tired. I wake up hungry. I put my shoes on every morning. I hit the gym. I do most of the shit that I'm supposed to do. A lot of the times I did things that I wasn't supposed to do. So I think a lot of us are built the same way. A lot of you guys, you come to these calls because you have this high-performing mindset where you just want to go after it and win. Am I right? Like, you just want to go after it and attack. Like, Ruben, dude, you're not happy with where you're at. Like, I'm not happy with where I'm at. All right? So I got to tell you, I don't think that really changes. I think that it gets bigger, and you see results, you get a little bit more fulfilled, and you see some things that happen, and then you're just always hungry for the next level. So today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my self-talk. Guys, there's a lot of people that have just a lot of negative self-talk, and I have that shit too. You guys have that negative self-talk where you're convincing yourself, man, like today's not going to be the day. Man, my wife, I'm having trouble with this thing. I'm having trouble with this thing. Dude, there's 80,000 thoughts going on in the world, in your head, in the world of your head, and a lot of them are negative. Now, what I'm here to coach you on today is how to take that negative self-talk and turn it into a winning mentality. To take it and turn it into a winning mentality. Today's all about winning mentality. So I'm going to ask you guys questions. I want you to drop them in the chat. You can ask me questions, and I'll go back and forth with you. This isn't going to be a super long coaching. It's going to be about 30 minutes. But my hope is that you'll move from wherever you're at to wherever you want to go. That you'll take a thought, marinate it, and push through on it. I've been able to coach some of the most famous people in the world through this exact same thing. I've been able to coach some of the top performing salespeople in the world through this. So I think it's super easy to understand. So number one, I want you to write down your strengths. I want you to write down your strengths. I want you to write down, hey man, I'm strong in this. I'm strong in this. Okay. I'm strong in communicating. I'm strong in connecting. I'm strong in networking. I'm strong in this. Okay. And then draw a line, and I want you to put your weaknesses. Now, see, a lot of you can come up with 100 weaknesses as I'm saying that, but you can only come up with like 2 or 3 strengths. Am I right? A lot of the times, because you're hard on yourself, you're like, oh, I'm not strong in this. 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 Okay. So your strengths, if you're in sales, and most of you are in sales here, some of you guys are here for personal development, but most of you guys are in sales. Here's what I want you to focus on today. I want you to focus on these 2 words, and then I'm going to dive this into the training. But I want you to focus on your strengths, and I want you to focus on your weaknesses. And here's what I want you to focus on. Momentum, courage. It takes courage to write down a weakness right now and actually come to this call and correct one of your weaknesses. Some of you are scaling and you're getting better because you're going to look in the mirror and you're going to fix one of your weaknesses. You're like, dude, hey, I don't like that I drink. You fixed it. You're like, hey, man, I don't like that I do this. And you fixed it. And then some of you come to this call over and over, but you never fix it. You never fix it. And I'm not really like super hard on a lot of you guys, but I feel like just saying some names and telling you what you don't fix, because you tell me all the time, but you don't just sit down and fix it. Now, listen, the person that can self-correct is worth the most money. What does that mean? The person that can self-correct one weakness on this call, one weakness will eventually break through to their next level. That person will eventually break through to their next level. They will eventually have less negative self-talk in their head. I probably got like 5,000 words during the day in my head that's negative self-talk. I'll be honest with you. I think that's probably pretty good. I think the average person has about 60,000 words of negative self-talk because they're constantly not beating one weakness, and then they're not finding evidence that it's changing. Here's the evidence that it's changing. Niels, if I stop drinking and then I go 200 days without drinking, and then I say,
you're going from
like
LMS because with ABC.
I've actually found evidence that I beat that, so I can have more confidence in myself and I can talk to myself.
Yes, I'm the POC. I'm not the end client.
Who is that?
So you're talking to someone who actually works for ABC.
We got somebody that's new to the call. All right, Darwin, you got one more opportunity, bud. Then we're just going to boot you and remove you. All right. But when you find evidence that you're beating this negative self-talk, you actually become a better person. And you know what happens, Christian? A lot of people, even as they beat something, they're still so negative about all of their problems that they don't even realize that they just conquered a battle. They don't even realize that, like, they did something that they once preyed on. There's a lot of you guys in here that you would never want to return to the life that you had 5 years ago. Am I right? Some of you, your life has gotten worse, but 95% of you, your life has gotten better than 5 years ago. Am I right? Okay, so why not celebrate that today? Why not stand up and be like, holy shit, I actually am successful. I won. I'm not dead. You're unkillable. You've literally destroyed everything that's been in front of you, but you're telling yourself, I don't got this because of Instagram, because of Facebook, because of this, because of that. You spin yourself out. Bro, listen, you could be 50 years old on here and you've ran a play your whole life to get through these 1 or 2 years where you're going to bust through and be a multimillionaire. If you don't get in your head, if you celebrate these wins. I see people like, well, I'm not a multimillionaire. I'm 26, so I'm in my head. I'm like, bro, you might not be a multimillionaire for 30 years. Who cares? I think the world needs to change. 8 billion people in the world need to change what success is to them. You know what success is to me? Waking up and being in a good mood. Waking up being happy with who I am. Waking up knowing that, like, I'm conquering my demons and getting better, and that, like, I'm happy with me. And ultimately, that has nothing to do with the world. It has nothing to do with money. There's a lot of miserable people that have money, but they just got money and then they didn't become any better, or they just didn't focus on any of this stuff all the way through. So many of you are more successful on here than some billionaires you know. But since I coach billionaires, and I have a couple of them that I coach, I watch these guys talk about all of this shit that they're dealing with up here because they never really conquered it. So in fact, they don't feel successful. If you believe you're rich in your heart and you believe you're rich in your mind, your life will just start to be rich. If you believe that you're poor in your mind and you believe that you're poor in your life because of what your wallet is, then you'll be poor in your life. You have to change the conversation that's going on up top. You have to decide, man, like, there is a couple things I would like to change about myself, but there's some things I'm very happy about myself. There's some things that I'm super excited that I've actually conquered over the last couple of years. Today, I want you to self-reflect a little bit, man. I don't coach on this enough, but I wrote down a couple of things. I said 5 years ago, I wasn't happy with, and this might seem small to you, but it could be big to me. So a lot of things that are small to other people are big to other people, right? But, like, honestly, I wasn't happy with the people I was around. That was one of the biggest things for me. Like, truly, I just knew that we weren't the same. I was, for 10 years, I was around all of the wrong people, and I didn't know how to get out of that. And I had to sell next to them. I had to run with them. And honestly, it just, like, then I would drink with them on the weekends because that's what they were doing. I would do all this shit that, like, I just conformed. I was a great salesperson, but in my heart, man, I would sit at my house and I would cry. And I'd be like, man, like, this can't be who I am. This can't. And it was a direct reflection of the people that I was around. It's a direct reflection of the woman that I had in my life. It was a direct reflection of who I became. I had money, but I was empty. So I wrote down one of the things that I'm most happy with about myself. And you can write down a couple of things that you're most happy with yourself. Some people are like, what does this have to do with sales? Everything, dumbass. Because if you don't believe in you, how are you going to sell at a high level? How are people, if you're selling B2B and you don't believe in you, how are you going to get a CEO to believe in you? If you don't believe in you, how are you going to get your next level opportunity? If you're a leader on this call and you don't pick up what I'm putting down, then everybody's going to know in your whole life. And more than anything, you're going to know. More than anything, you're going to know. I'm not interested in running around on the internet and acting like everybody else, like my life is good when it's not. I'd much rather just say it's bad. I'd much rather just fix it. I'd much rather just know that everything that you have right now, you can cure in the matter of hours. Actually, a decision to change is instant. Results take time. You know how many messages I get where people are like, man, like, I got to get this result. I got to have a brand. I got to do this. I'm like, bro, slow down. You already made the decision to change. Just let the results catch up. But I wrote that one thing down. I got some other ones. But when I changed the people I was around, the networking I'm around, my life changed instantly because I worked 10 years really hard to grab it, to get skill and to go through the fire and all this stuff. And I was preparing, even though I was off some days, I was still preparing for a big life. I still was attacking harder than most people, which is not a reward to beat losers. I wanted to beat legends. Winners beat losers and winners beat losers and legends beat winners. I wasn't beating legends. I was just beating the average guy. That wasn't really what I wanted to do. I wanted to become the best version of myself. So I'm just going to reflect with myself. I said I was around the wrong people. I said that like my weaknesses were, I believed in myself in public, but I didn't believe in myself in private. I didn't believe in my ability to stay consistent. I was consistent in sales, but I wasn't consistent in life. Like I would say, start something and stop something. Start something, and then I have extreme thinking, and then I would stop something. That's like most people in a coaching program. They think that they're going to get results instantly, so they start a coaching program, or they're distracted like Steven Estrada on the call talking to somebody else, and then they can't understand why they're not getting results. Guys, I know. I can see it in people's eyes who are going to get results. I can see it in people's eyes when they're distracted. I can see it in people's eyes when they're going to be on something for a long period of time. I've coached some of you guys from 200,000 you're making to $1 million. I've literally been with people for 3 or 4 or 5 years, and then I get with some people, and they're there for a couple of days, and then they have to go through 2 years of struggle, then to come back, and then they're like, oh man, like I should have just stayed there. Write down the word extreme thinking. That was one of my biggest problems. I didn't have extreme thinking in business, but personal, I was double-minded. Like business, I was ready for war. I could get up, I could attack, I could have momentum, I could have courage, I could go after it. In my life, I didn't have that. Extreme thinking is when you commit to something and then you retreat. You commit to something and then you retreat. You commit to something and you retreat. Bailey, I got to tell you, man, your next level, no matter who you are on this call, Greg, your next level is when you commit to something and see it through, no matter what it is. Even if it's bad, but you thought it was a good business idea, but you just see it through and you're just forcing it through and you're just making it happen, you're going to learn a lot about yourself. I want you to write down these 2 words, courage and momentum. It's the 2 things that you have to have in sales, courage and momentum. I literally go back in my life and I say, what was the thing that separated me in business? And then when I learned to take these 2 things into my life changed. All right, I had a lot of courage and momentum in my sales career. Let me explain. A lot of salespeople are in their heads and they're having a lot of negative self-talk because they're bored. When you're not doing a whole lot, you have the ability to convince yourself of a lot. Like when your life is just kind of like, and you're not getting a lot of results, you'll go figure out ways to burn your life down. You'll go figure out ways to just spin yourself out. If I'm not busy or doing something or productive and getting results, I am not that good of a person. I'll be honest with you. I get pretty negative. I get pretty in my head. And I know that I can't have that idle mind. So in sales, I want you to write down your weakness. And I'm going to explain if you don't know what it is. I'm going to help you find your weakness in sales. Okay. In sales, people used to tell me, hey, go to the service drive and sell them the service drive. I was like, man, I'm not going down there. I don't know the text. That's kind of weird for me. I don't know, I don't really know what to do down there. And I found myself just sitting outside on the lot, just like everybody else. I found myself not making the calls. I knew I had these hot prospects, but I was like, man, I'll call them in an hour or 2 once I get my day going, once I get rolling. Well, I started to focus on courage is only 20 seconds. It's only 20 seconds. I said one day, screw it, man. If I am a salesperson right now and I could get, let's imagine the average salesperson gets, maybe we could call it like 100 ups a month, Greg, right? 100 ups a month, we'll call it. Okay, that's 100 people walking in that they see. What if I could get 100 ups in a day? If I could do that for 30 days straight, would I be a better salesperson than everybody else? Well, naturally, in my mind, yeah, because I'm going to have a lot more practice than everybody else. So I got the courage as a kid to go down in the service drive at 19. This changed my life, and it could change yours too. It doesn't matter what business you're in. Understand, your job on this Zoom call is also just to think about your business, but also how you can maybe get one of these breakthroughs, because this was a true breakthrough for me that really made me millions of bucks. I walked down into the service drive. I started developing relationships with the service advisors. One day I was just on fire, and I'm like, I'm going to go down there and do this. Well, I just started getting doors for people, reciprocity, not asking for something, just showing up and giving something. You can do that in B2B, in any sales job you're in. I talk about reciprocity all the time, but how many of you guys actually give reciprocity to your customers, to your family, to your friends, to your neighbors, to everybody you know? You probably don't, man. That could be your one hole that I'm trying to tell you right now that you're missing. Reciprocity. It's the most powerful word in sales. You can't tell me otherwise. When I give to you and you have to give back to me, like just because out of the goodness of my heart, it's a game changer. Okay? But when I went down there, I discovered that I just started meeting people, having conversations. They're sitting around. I'm shaking hands. I'm talking to people. I'm figuring out problems. I'm helping the service advisors. Man, I lived in that service drive for 3 months, my first 3 months. I was selling like 8 to 10 cars a month out of service, which was pretty good because I wasn't going to sell that on the floor. And then as my sales skills started to grow, because I started to become dangerous, I started selling 20 and 30 cars out of service. My service advisor commented on my Facebook post yesterday. Go look. He's like, Ian sold more cars out of service than anybody I've ever seen, and I've been doing this for 30 years. Because I just lived down there, man. But also I had to have courage to go down there. And I had a weakness. Here was my weakness. I wrote it down and I fixed it. I said, I'm scared to talk to people. Would you imagine that? Me. And some of you guys know me and you're like, there's no way you're scared to meet people, Evan. Ian, that's bullshit. I just call myself Evan. That was embarrassing. Sometimes I look at myself and I see my brother. You know? I'm like, oh shit, there's Evan. Oh, that's me. You know, you guys don't have that problem. You know, it's kind of weird, honestly. But man, guys, I had this weakness of like, when I got around people, I felt awkward. I didn't know what to say, you know, like I didn't know really how to do it. Nobody really taught me it. So I knew that my boss told me, hey, Ian, you need to go stand at the mall. And I told him, hey, yeah, I'm going to go stand at the mall. He goes, hey, you need to go stand at the mall and meet 50 people. And you need to do that every day. And he would send me over there. Well, you know what I would do is I would get in my car and I'd wait out back. And I'd be like, oh, I'm not running that play. Fuck that. You know, and so he's telling me to do something that would change my life, like I've told many of you, but I wasn't doing it. The work you're hiding from is the results that you want. The work that you're hiding from is the results you want. The work that you're hiding from, the work that you're hiding on doing. I tell you something, but you don't go deeper on it. You don't say, hey, that's what I need to be doing, man, and then do it. One day he said, Ian, you're not getting better at meeting people. I'm going to have you go down to the service shop. But first, I'm going to take you to the mall every day for the next 2 weeks. And I said, well, you don't have to go with me. I'm doing it, man. He goes, there's no way you're doing it. You'd be great at it by now. And I was like, damn, he knows. How does he know? Because I wasn't getting better. It's like I can look in some of your faces and I can see like that fire burning in Christian. He's gaining, he's growing, he's doing more. And then I can look over at somebody and I can see him talking to other people. He's distracted. He ain't growing, man. You've been here for 2 years and you ain't making no more money. Leave. Like, leave if you're not getting results. I want the people in our community that are changing, that are truly doing the work, that are truly facing the demons, that are truly having courage to face themselves. That's who I want to be around. That's who fires me up. And that's who fires you guys up too. But he took me to that mall. And I learned a lot about myself really fast. I learned that I was kind of good at it. I learned that when my back was up against the wall and somebody was watching me, I could perform. I just couldn't do it when other people weren't around. So I was like, dude, this is great. Hey, how about you come down to service with me and just watch me go out there and just pump me up? He's like, all right. So he would stand up in the service shop and he would watch me and I'd go put on a show. I go walk around and my charisma came alive because, man, I might let myself down, but I won't let other people down. That's like a strength and a weakness of mine. It's kind of both. Like, if it's just me, that's why I got to have a big dream, which is part of the mentality. If I don't have a big dream and a big responsibility, guys, I'm kind of a piece of shit. Honestly, if I lose my big dream or lose my responsibility or I lose my thought of it and I forget about it, then I don't play my best game. I don't, man. So you got to think about that for you. What is your weakness in sales right now? Okay, all right. Dylan, I don't get to go to work with you. TJ, I don't get to go to work with you. So like, I don't know what it is. All right. Does anybody have a personal trainer or ever trained with a personal trainer on here? Does anybody have like that? Okay.
I have.
You know when you get a personal trainer, David, and he just like tears your ass up, like where you almost regret going and you're sore for 5 days, but you're working out and you never get sore? Okay, so guys, like Tajay Williams said, man, I've never done a personal trainer. All right, I go to this personal trainer. His name is Usman, and he's been helping me, and I work out with Aaron Williamson. Well, if you work out with Aaron, you almost throw up every time. Like you almost like you're, and most of you would just throw up in 5 minutes. I'm talking about me. Like you know what I'm saying? But like, so he pushes you, and he finds your weakness, and then he exploits it. Niels, I don't know what you're weak in. I can't watch you all day, so I need you to write down your weakness and for you to physically act like Andy's there or somebody or your wife or your kids or somebody, and you got to work on that weakness today. You got to. Now, your strength. I want to go into strength. Okay, your strengths. Brock, if I'm really good at networking with people, then I want you guys to 5x your strengths. Triple down on your strengths. If you're good at social media, dude, you better have 40 posts a day. If you're great at making phone calls, dude, you better be making 900 phone calls a day. A lot of people try to go correct their weaknesses, which I want you to do. I want you to pick one or two and go correct your weaknesses. But in sales, I also want you to 5 times your strengths. Whatever you're really good at in sales, you need to do more of earlier on. So like, listen, here's how you create momentum in a day. If I walk in and I have nobody on my calendar, I'm going to go get with somebody immediately. Whatever that means to you and your business, immediately I'm going to create momentum. Immediately I'm going to make the biggest call I need to make. Immediately I'm going to get on the phone and do follow-up. Immediately I'm just going to create a cycle of momentum. In sales, if you don't have momentum, it is the death of you. It is the negative self-talk that will creep in and it will ruin you. It will ruin you. So you have to be a master at keeping your momentum. I can't keep it for you. You have to keep it for you. So you have to decide, where are these customers? Because the goal of a business is new business. Where's my repeat customers? What does my day look like to get started off quick? Okay. I walk around with a journal. And I've done this since I was in the car business. If I had my top 10 customers that I've seen in the last 2 weeks, I'm calling all 10 of them right there on the lot. Moving, shaking, in rhythm, creating rhythm, and going. When you don't have rhythm, it's like having no heartbeat as a salespeople. Have you ever seen a salesperson sitting around at a car dealership and you can just tell he ain't making no money ever? He's like this. And he just looks like his day sucks. Or you guys ever walk in a furniture store and the guy's just like smoking the cigarette? Well, dude, he just doesn't know how to do rhythm. He doesn't know how to take care of himself. He doesn't know that, like, people can see this shit all over your face. Guys, I really believe you can see the level of progress in somebody's eyes. Like, I don't know Fernando. I don't know what kind of results he's getting, but it looks like he's pretty fired the fuck up. You know, I know David pretty well. I know he's obsessed with getting better. So if I was around that person and that person knew how to communicate, I would naturally want to vibe with them. Okay, so I think when you have courage, it kills the negative self-talk. I think when you have no courage, it increases the self-talk. Because if you don't act on something you know you should act, you start telling yourself all of these things up here. So I would write down courage kills negative self-talk. And then I would train myself to have more courage, whatever that means to you, whatever you need that in your life for, okay? I'm just talking about me. I know that that helps me a lot. Like if I feel like I shouldn't do it, I immediately do it. I'm like, oh, that's the devil creeping in. Let's go make that call. Oh, that's the weakness creeping in. Let's go make that call. And momentum makes your day happen. Guys, have you guys ever sold something early in the day, like right when your business opens up? Raise your hand if that's happened to you. All right, what happens to your entire day? That day is bomb, right? That day is great. You're like, yeah. Neil's just running around. He's like, yeah, man, yeah. Okay? All right, you got to back in and design what happened in that moment. Bailey, was it because you hit 15 phone calls 3 days ago and one of them came in and bought? Okay, so you might need to go back and say, okay, I'm going to do 50 phone calls a day. In order to be able to create these momentum points that are going to happen, I'm going to back into my day and I'm going to create this momentum. And it might be a behavior that you had in the past. And that behavior it has to be tied to an action. So I don't focus on, I focus on a couple of things. I focus on the behavior of sales. The behavior of sales is my number one thing that I focused on the sales floor. I knew that if I made 50 calls, just because of my frequency and energy, and just because I have this mentality when I call you, I'm not really calling to sell you. Like if I was practicing with Niels right now, I'd be like, hey, what's up, Niels? How you doing? It's Ian down here at Nissan. Just wanted to call and check on you, man. I know that you probably still have your 2019 Nissan Rogue. Is that right? He's like, yeah, I do, Ian. And I'm like, oh, that's amazing. I don't say, hey, is this Niels? Nice to meet you. Or is Niels there? Oh, hi. How's it going? I'm like, hey, bro, Niels. Hey, good to hear from you again, man. This is Ian, where you bought your 2019 Rogue. Hey, man, I just want to call up and check on you. Just do a courtesy call, make sure everything's going good. You got that Bluetooth hooked up. I know it was 3 years ago, but some people don't know how to do it. Make sure your GPS is updated. Make sure your tire pressures are ready to go. Hey, just want to call you. He's like, who is this dude? And then he's like, yeah. And I'm like, hey, real quick. Right now, while I got you on the phone, that 2019 Rogue is worth more than ever. The market's getting ready to drop on those. We're paying giant money. Matter of fact, my general manager, who told me to give you a call today, he wanted me to personally reach out to you and just check and ask you a couple of questions. Could I ask you a couple of questions? He's like, yeah, sure. Why? Because I earned the right. I got authority in my voice. I don't sound like a fucking bitch. I'll just be honest with you. I didn't even want to cuss like that. But honestly, it's just like there's so much like it's like you feel like you're bothering customers. You're like, dude, you're bothering yourself. Like you just need to unlearn this shit. Like just stop. When you call somebody, call with good energy, call with value, call with respect, call with love. Stop thinking about selling something. Don't stop thinking about all the things that could happen. Stop thinking about a sell. Just call with some love. If it turns into a sale, cool. I honestly don't really give a shit if it does or doesn't. That's why I'm a winner. Because listen, you can sense in my voice that I don't care, but I care. It's like that's how winners operate. It's like they don't need the sale, but they want the sale. They'll take the sale if it's there, but it's no big deal if it happens or if it doesn't happen. It's not going to kill my day. And by the way, if you reject me, it doesn't matter to me anyways, because I got 50 other people to call. I'm going to jam out with one of them. But see, I would watch the average car salesman make a phone call, get rejected like that, and he didn't do the shit that I said. When he calls, he's like this, Bailey. He watched me on Twin Tuesday, and he goes, hey, just wanted to check on you and just see how you're doing. And he tries to have some energy, doesn't really have some energy, and then the customer hangs up, and he's like, that doesn't work. Yeah, because I can't watch you do it. That's the problem. What you're going to have to do is put that light-hearted authenticness to who you are inside of that phone call. And if they can feel that you actually care, if they can feel that you're actually having fun, if they can feel that you actually like your life, if they can feel that you actually like you, then they'll convert. And they're going to it's just, that's why this self-talk is so important, guys. So I'm going to get into a couple of things, but drop your weaknesses. Maybe drop a couple weaknesses that you got just so I can see a couple of them and I'll handle a couple of them. But I want you guys to write down a couple of things. This is kind of the framework that I wanted to talk to you about today. And I just think it's the winning mindset. I think without these things, you literally can't have a winning mindset. I really believe it. Nobody helped me design this. I just designed this in my head. Number one, big dreams. Lionel Messi, you guys know who he is? When he was a 6-year-old, he was addicted to soccer and he was smaller than every other kid out there. He had a growth disease, like a growth hormone disease in his DNA, and he couldn't grow, man, and he couldn't run faster than everybody else. And his doctor told him, you'll never be able to play, professional football, soccer. And every day he took this shot, like this little kid putting this shot. They have like videos of him putting the shot in him. And, you know, every day he practiced. Every day he tried to get better. Every day he had this big dream of being a professional soccer player. Every single day, every single day, every single day, every single day. And then he became one of the best in the world, still one of the smallest guys in the world. He became the best in the world. He never got separated from his dreams. You know how many people I watched sell their dream out? Literally, they got this dream, and because it doesn't happen right away, it's almost like that dream is muffled inside of them. And then that dream is like, hey, I'm still here. And it talks to your negative self-talk and says, well, you didn't accomplish this. You're not worth it. You can't do it. And then you start believing that shit. And then it's not even really the case, man. It's not even really the case. You know, I walked around on my cell phone for 10 years. I had a Nissan store. And it said Macklin on the front. I just did like a little AI image before there was AI. I think I had somebody that was, I photoshopped it. I don't know how to do that. I think I paid somebody like $20 to Photoshop it when I was 19. And I walked around with this image of this Nissan store, and it was my dream to own that store. It was my dream, you know. And I used to call my dealership the Lion's Den. I used to talk about having a family, and I used to talk about a lot of the things that we have here now. I used to. In my mind, I had this big dream of what this was. I also had this big dream of having, you know, Grant Cardone's company influenced me a lot. I had a big dream of like creating the next level of a Grant Cardone company. I had these like two dreams that were in my heart. And for 10 years, I just sold, man. And honestly, I never let that dream die. No matter what I did in my life, I never let that dream die. I always felt like I could own the business. I always felt like it was going to be my store. I always felt like that, man. I didn't let anybody take that dream from me. So when I was with a customer having a bad day, all I had to do was look right here, and it would remind me. And then I'd get right out of my head. I'm like, bro, that's not how you act if you own the business. That's not how you act if you're gonna have this one day. You're in your story right now. People are gonna talk about this story that you're gonna create. How crazy can you get? How crazy can you get? Somebody said they have a problem closing. Well, if you're in our school academy or you're in Project 500, like, dude, you should take the closing course 1,000 times. But you want to know the secret to closing? Here's the secret to closing. You're the close. A lot of people want these cute word tracks and all of this different shit. It's really how you believe in your heart. So if you're struggling with closing, it's probably because you just don't believe in you. And probably because you're just telling yourself every day, oh, I don't know closing. Start telling yourself you're the greatest closer. Change your self-talk. Change the way you communicate with yourself. Like, I'm cool with admitting it, but like, eventually you're going to have to sell yourself another story. Eventually you're going to have to say, I'm a great closer. Hey, watch this. I'm a great closer. You're going to have to tell everybody around you that you're the master closer. And then you're going to have to believe it. And the better you become at you, the better you become at closing. Man, I don't even feel like I closed deals. I felt like in the car business, people just said yes. Well, because I was just pursuing the best version of myself. I didn't have a whole lot of objections. I'll be honest with you. I had a lot of people, like, if they said something, I would just push through with my mentality. I'd be like, dude, you're crazy, man. That's crazy. Listen, dude, I already know that your wife has already seen this car. She don't want to come down here and deal with me, dude. You're dealing with me because you're the man of the house. We going to do this together, and I would just have fun with them. Man, make sales fun again, guys. Make it exciting again. Bring love back into it. Bring your mind out of it and bring your heart into it. And when you do that, then you become the close. You see what I'm saying? If you can do what I just said, just in closing, I promise you, you'll 3 times your income, no matter what you do. Because honestly, it's a frequency. Honestly, it's what you put out there, you can totally feel, okay? But big dreams, write that down. If you lose track of your big dream and you lose track of that, then you won't operate with such a high frequency because you can't unconvince yourself of this big dream. Whatever your big dream is, that's your dream. It's nobody else's dream. It's your dream. It's your calling from God. You can get there. It will happen. It will happen. It will happen. It will happen because it's your dream. And dreams do come true. I'm living proof of my dream came true. My dream sounded pretty fucking crazy 4 years ago. I said, I quit my job. I took all of the risk in the world. I leveraged every dollar that I had with the willingness and I didn't know what was going to happen. Honestly, I didn't even care. Honestly, I just said, hey, you know what? I got to have courage and I got to jump and I got to make this happen. And right now, I'm going to walk away from everything that I've ever built. You know, Actually, this is a good story. The Joker from the Nuggets was my next door neighbor when I was in car sales. I bought this big ass penthouse, and I was really proud of it because when you come from the inner city, all you want is a nice house with a pool. Like you're like that's how you know you made it. Like that's all you care about. Okay. If you come from a nice family, I don't know what you want because I just didn't come from one, so I just came from that. But I remember the Joker sitting with me, and he's like, "Man, your mentality's crazy." Like, and I was talking to him when he first got drafted. And he goes, "Man, I go, what's your dream?" And he goes, "Man, I want to win a championship." I go, "Well, you got to dream bigger than that, bro. Like you got to dream bigger than that." He's like, "What do you mean?" And he said it on a podcast the other day about me, and he said, "Listen, this guy told me that I needed to dream big. I didn't understand at the time because I thought that was dreaming big." I said, "Why don't you go win like 9 MVPs? Why don't you be the most dominant center? Why don't you dream big? Why don't you dream nasty? Why don't you dream huge? Why don't you dream big?" And here I am, like maxed out where I'm at and not dreaming big. Like back then, I really wasn't. I was telling people to do it, but I wasn't. But he looked at me crazy, and he said, I saw him the other day. He said, "I'll never forget that. You told me my dream was basically small. Winning a championship was small." And maybe it wasn't, but what I was trying to get the point across to him was everybody was like, "Yeah, man, yeah, win a championship." I'm like, "Win 9 in a row. Win 20 MVPs. Be the most dominant. Like, why not, man? Dream big. Stop dreaming so small." Part of your problem is you dream so small that, dude, you just get lost. Your heart is dying for that passion of chase. Listen, man, it's not even about if you get the goal. It's about who you become chasing something so big that your heart gets on fire because it's exciting. It's exciting. Why is a lion a lion? A lion is a lion because of his mentality. An elephant gets eaten by a lion because of his mentality. A lion is all about the chase. An elephant's just about the goal of eating the grass. We're lions. Our goal is to be out there hunting. Does hunting get tiring? Yes. It doesn't matter. We're going to stop, capture, and kill our prey. We are going to get there because that's how we think. That's what we do. That's who we are. That's how we believe. Okay? Number 2, most people are just playing not to lose versus playing to win. Man, when I had to leverage everything and go all in, by the way, I leveraged everything all the time. When I was in the car business, people weren't running ads. I was spending $5,000 a month on ads. Okay? When people were hanging around on Fridays and Saturdays bullshitting, most of the time, I'd bullshit with them here and there, but most of the time, I was doing the branding and marketing that I taught you guys about at this last thing in the school community. We just had this big Zoom on branding and marketing. I gave you 20 ideas to get your business everywhere. Jonan, you can drop the link to our community. Did you just put that in there? The branding and marketing thing?
Yeah.
So it's live in the school community. I was so obsessed. It was the only thing that probably kept me alive because I could go hang out with I had a lot of friends die. I had a lot of friends get shot outside of clubs and all these different things. And I naturally should have been there. But my big dream kept me alive, man. My big dream kept me playing at a high level. My big dream kept me in front of the right people. My big dream kept me doing that. Also, my ability to go all in when other people can't is why I win. Man, so many people want the company we have. And then you know what they do? We're like, "Hey, it's $2,000 to come down to a seminar." They're like, "I got $3,000 in my bank." I'm like, dumbass. Even if you had $3,000 in your bank, you should leverage $3,500. You should go get a loan. I was 18 when I went to my first conference and I had to go to a credit union and leverage $800. I never had $800 in my hand. And I went and slept outside of a conference in Miami on the side of the street and ate chips and salsa from a restaurant and stole food from a King Soopers to get what I wanted. You know why somebody doesn't feel like I feel in sales? It's because I've been doing this shit for 10 years and not just talking the shit, doing the shit. I've been putting myself under pressure. I've been putting myself at war. I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. And your time, maybe you don't know what you're capable of. You better start knowing right now because that's the mentality you have to have. That's the impression you have to give off to the marketplace. And when you give off that impression to the marketplace, it's funny how shit just starts to come back. It's crazy, man. But most people are just playing not to lose. It's crazy. They're like, man, you don't want me to train your team, but they're like, oh, it's 10 grand for a Zoom call. I'm like, yeah, bro, I put $800,000 into myself. I've risked it all. There's nobody more psycho than me. Whether that's the truth or not, I fucking believe it, bro. I believe it because I have evidence to support it. You're creating evidence to support it. I got this Austin Hewlett kid on here. He's 17. Okay. He drives down to a conference 14 hours away or wherever the hell he's from in Idaho. I don't even know where the fuck that's at. All right. And he's like, and he sleeps outside of the conference with his dad in the car, you know, and he tells his dad to come down. His dad walks him into the gym. I'm like, who's this guy? He's like, it's my dad. You know, he came down, he had to drive because I don't got a driver's license. And I'm like, dude, that's what winners do. And that's what most people won't do. That's why winners will win and quitters will quit. The goal is where quitters quit, winners keep going. They keep going. They keep training. They keep staying consistent. They stay plugged in. They don't give up. They don't give in. They don't give up ground. If they lose, they're like, all right, that was good for me. You know how many times I've gotten my ass kicked? You know how many times I haven't closed deals? I've failed at more deals than all of you combined, probably. And I'll just say it. Maybe you're like, no, that's not true. I've failed at a lot of deals. I don't know, man. I failed at thousands of deals, and every single one of them was good for me because I was taking more shots than everybody. I was making more calls than everybody. And this isn't about me, but when you have that mentality and you're like, dude, it doesn't matter if I fail. I'll fail my way to the top, but I'm never going to not leverage myself to win. I'm never going to not put myself in the game. I'm never going to not just play to take part. Dude, write down, be a damn playmaker. Be a damn playmaker. Some people are such role players nowadays. They just want to be on the team. They just want to be on the team. Bitch, I want to be the captain of the team. I'll just be honest with you. I don't want to be on the team. I want to lead the team. I want to be the guy on Braveheart with the horse riding in the battle. I want to die first. Okay? I want people to know. I want people to have courage when they're around me. I want people to have strength when they're around me. I want people to see that I'm doing the shit that I'm telling other people to do. It's a daily struggle. Feel like shit some days. I show up and do the work anyways. Don't want to make the call. Make the call anyways. Don't want to go to the gym. Do the gym anyways. When you do those things, man, it creates number 3, which is the winning mindset. And that's what this is about. Dreams, avoid failure. Most people avoid failure. I lean into failure. I love failure. When I fail, I don't go like this. Roger, oh, that call didn't work. Oh, I'm a pussy. No, dude, I'm like, it's all good. Hey, what do you think it was? How did that work? What could we do better? All right, cool. Next time, got this, bro. And then I try to take that negative self-talk and just say go, and then I go right over here. I instead of right here, I say, okay, that's cool. Hey, failure is the way. 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 There's nobody that most people, you know, Michael Jordan, Andy Elliott, Tom Brady, anybody who's done anything great or legendary, they're just better at losing than you. They're better at losing than you. You start losing and you act like a little bitch. They start losing and they're like, okay, this is it. This is what I need. This is what I need. This is good. This is good for me. This is good for me. This is good for me. Did you guys see Dustin Poirier lose that fight against whoever that guy was? Shit, I can't even remember who he fought, but did you guys see him lose that fight? You know what he said after? Dude, he was hype about losing. He's like, man, dude, you know what, man? Most people can't get in the arena. The fact that I'm out here doing what I'm doing, man, I'm doing what I love. Man, I was giving it my all. He said, I felt like every time I got off that stool, I was going to knock that son of a bitch out. I felt like every time, no matter what, I felt like I was 1 second away from knocking that ass out. You got to know you're 1 second away from your dream. You're 1 second away from a relationship that can change your life. Some of you don't believe that, and that's your fucking problem. I'm just being honest with you. And sorry I cuss, but then I get mad. I'm not really maybe mature enough to like, I see that and then I just get fucking angry because I'm like, dude, that's what we all feel. That's what we all feel. We know that we're close to the win, but don't say you know you're close to the win, but then get mad at yourself when you lose. He didn't get mad at himself. He didn't get down. He's like, dude, I love that I'm beat up. I love that my face is beat up. I love that I got knocked out because I'm the guy in the arena. I'm the guy that most people wish they could be. But losers are going to look at me and think, oh, you lost. Winners are going to look at me and say, damn, I wish I could be a warrior like that guy who took a L like that. That's fucking extreme. That's amazing. That's how you do that shit. Okay? See, this is just a mentality. What does this have to do with sales? Everything. Everything, man. if you can take this into sales, you become dangerous. You become a fucking psycho competitor. You become a guy that, like, man, you can really be proud of. And everybody has something inside of them that they've never met yet. I'm hoping to introduce you to another side of you, another side of competing, another side of working, another side of believing in yourself, man. You know, I remember when I lacked belief. I remember when I had self-doubt. Self-doubt tries to ride with you on to work today. You know, I was listening to something to get me hyped for this call. And then, you know, I started having like, oh man, like, you know, what am I going to do? How's this going to, and I'm like, dude, stop it. Stop it. Do what you do. Do what you do. Do what you do. Do what you do. I wrote down, I am him. It's on my hand pretty much every day. I think I'm just going to get tattooed. I think I'm going to get it tattooed because that brings me into the next thing. Powerful tools. Powerful tools and big words. I am him. I am is the biggest word. It's the biggest word. You need to remind yourself every day. Bailey Clark, when your customer leaves and everybody's around you's negative, you need to look at your hand and be like, hey, man, I'm not getting caught up in them. I am him, man. I'm him. I'm going to get the next one. Listen, I am capable. I am great. I am legendary. I am Ian. I tell myself this. When I'm going out onto a stage, I go through this thing where I turn my headphones on and I just start yelling all the things that I like about myself. I am a great dad. I'm a great salesperson. I'm a great leader. I'm a great this. And then I just, my whole life's changed just like that. I changed my physiology, which changes my psychology. I'm jumping up and down. I'm moving. I'm getting out of my head. And then I'm hitting that next gear. Dude, some of these you could use as a hack just in your daily life. You start getting all caught up in your head, which we all will. Maybe you throw on one of these and you start telling yourself. Maybe you remind yourself of what I just said, powerful tools, chanting, self-talk, how you're coaching yourself, the sales meeting that you're giving yourself. This is kind of a sales meeting, more of a training. But you got to really give yourself your own sales meeting. And how good you are at giving yourself your own sales meeting. Does your sales meeting sound like this? Hey, you're going to do good today. I think you can. I think you're going to be good. Better shut that bitch ass shit up, man. You seriously better, man. You better sound like Tony Robbins up in your head. You better sound like a fucking psycho up in your head. People better think something's wrong with you. If they don't think something's wrong with you, you're not doing it right. You better get up in that head and start yelling some shit. You better start running around. We got a guy named Austin Ledette here at our office. Austin was acting like a total bitch for a couple of months. I thought about firing him. Actually, we gave him an award called Total Recreation because me and my brother, we don't fire a lot of people, but we walked into Andy's office. We said, hey, bro, we got to let this guy go. He's so uncertain about everything. He makes me uncertain. And I don't like that. Like, he has a level of certainty that he went from being a great salesperson, a top performing salesperson in the world, a crusher, to like the new guy walking around scared everywhere he went, like everywhere. And I was like, I just can't do this, man. He was negative. Every time I was talking and training, he was rolling his eyes. I'm like, what are you, what's happening to you? And, I said, I'm going to give him one more chance. And I took him to a dealer training with me and I reminded him who he was. I gave him some Tony Robbins training. We listened to My Morning. I walked him through the cold plunge. I walked him through a few things just to kind of maybe give him one lifeline. And he heard something on this Tony Robbins app and it was chanting and it was self-talk. And he's like, Ian, I just convinced myself of all of this shit. And I was like, man, like I wish you would listen to one of my Twin Tuesdays. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the same shit, you know, but he didn't. He's on here now, but he didn't, you know, and it was crazy because his whole life changed almost immediately. And I was so close to firing this fool. And then the next day he's walking around the office and he would put his headphones on and he would just start yelling and he would start doing all this like all this stuff you see Evan doing on Instagram. Evan jumps on his trampoline every morning with his kid just yelling to the world who he is. It might sound crazy to some people, but it works for him. Okay. Austin started doing that. Austin started coaching himself. Austin started going back through and training. So he got into this company and then his training was our meetings every day. That's not really training. He started getting back into my Zoom calls. He started getting back into training every day. He unplugged. If you unplug, man, you'll get killed. That's why I built the school community. It's a little bit different than Project 500 because I just wanted people to be able to communicate to each other. I wanted Greg to be able to know this guy. I wanted Austin to be able to know this guy. I really believe that community is everything. So I built that school community so we could have people that just talk together and can come together. And I could do special trainings for and stuff like that. So if you're not in our school community, there's a link, jump in with us. Man, and we just do a lot of crazy stuff in that community. We just gave away a trip for 2 people to come down and go through Andy's morning routine. Andy's morning routine. They get to go to Andy's house. Corrine Griffin and Greg, he's on here. He's on every call. They get to come down to Andy's house. I've given away helicopter rides. I've given away, we have a Jake Paul and Mike Tyson ticket. See, I like experiences. So that's my program. And since I like experiences and I think experiences break you through to the next level, the people who coach with me in there, I just do all this crazy shit because I know that I welcome all experiences because you never know when one experience is going to turn it all on, all of it, your whole life on. Because I was kind of playing small and then I got around Andy, Jackie. I started doing these experiences, getting in these different rooms. And it's like, I just wish you would have known how dark my mind was and all of the problems I had going on up here. And then like how it all shifted. And it shifted when I started having these experiences and getting around these different people. And then I started getting different results because then I found the evidence that it was real. Okay. So you can join that. There's a lot of stuff that we do in there. Cornelius Shackelford's in there. That's a real name. He's a coach. He's a badass. He's in there. And he has the coolest name on here next to Shraven Ramarok. I don't know. That's a cool one too. All right. So, all right, next one. And then we'll end it on these 2 more. So you got the powerful tools. Emotional mastery, man. You got to get in control of your emotions. I was so emotional for all the wrong things. One person could take the carpet out from under me. If you got more than one person that can completely wreck your day, it's going to be hard to stay in that winning mindset. Dude, it's really hard to wreck my day. Almost if you're nobody. Like you could be anybody and it's really hard to wreck my day. My wife's probably the only one who can do it. And she knows it. So I make sure that I work on that with her. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, hey, so but that's also why we have relationship counseling. That's why we have the power couples events that we have. Some of you, one of my closest clients is going through a divorce right now. And it's so crazy to me. He's watched us talk about coming down to couples masterminds, investing in his marriage. He's watched all of this different stuff, but he's never taken the action to do it. Then he calls me the other day and he's like, I'm going through a divorce and it's wrecked me. That's why I've been so distant. And I'm like, how did you, I can't make you not miss that you have 2 resources in Andy and Jackie who have saved hundreds of marriages. I can't make you recognize that you should be right here with them, changing that because that'll change your life. So my phone number, you can reach me in the chat if you want to come to the couples mastermind. There's also one in Mexico for the hitters that want to go down that one, but there's one here, 480-780-2203. You can text me and come down to that. But emotional mastery, you got to master yourself and you got to be in control of you. Man, so many people come up to me and they're like, hey, did you see what that guy said about you on the internet? Did you see this? Did you see this? Did you see this? I'm like, dude, I don't see anything. I don't see anything. I only see what I want to see. I'm only in control of me, man. I'm not in control of anything else, any outside forces. I honestly have gotten to such a strong point in my life that I literally, I don't even know what's going on with other people, with other outside influences. If it's outside of my control and you come to me and it's outside of my control, I'm like, let God have that one, man. I'm going to get back to all the shit that I can control because there's so many things that I can control in my life. There's so many things that I can control in my life that if I focused on all the things I couldn't control, I would be broke mentally, physically, financially, everything. So focus on what you can control. That's part of your emotional mastery. Big moves. Big moves is part of this winning mindset. You got to make big moves in your life. You got to make big moves in your business. You got to make big moves in your frequency. You got to make big moves in your brand. You're not building a brand. I don't know what you're doing. You need to. My brand's got me into more places than money could ever get me into. Just being honest with you. If you're not building a brand, if you're not getting in big rooms with big people and making big moves and doing that, you could be 17, 18 years old. Man, if I was Lucas, I'd go get around some guys that were older, some guys that were doing some things that I wanted to do, and I'd be right there next to them. The Patrick Bet-David event, I've got people flying in earlier. I've got 2 billionaires that are my clients that are going to be with me. You can come run with us and them. I'm literally just going to be listening to what they tell me. I'll be coaching them a little bit, but I've got people coming in earlier to do stuff. We have the Tony Robbins event going on right now. Jonah and Enrique, drop the link to the Tony Robbins event. The Tony Robbins event is virtual. You can stream it from around the world, but I'm telling you guys, that's going to help you transform your mind. So I'll drop that into the chat. That's free. We have a watch party down here. If you're around Arizona and you want to come down here, you can come watch it with us. I'm probably going to go work out with a couple of the people that are really crazy because listen, man, there's some people I meet them and I never remember them because they're not memorable. It's maybe my fault, but it's also your fault. There's some guys that'll come down like Christian Durant and they're like, hey, let's get to the gym. Hey, what can we do extra? Hey, can I help clean the building? Can I help do this? Can I help? Hey, I just want to be around. I'm going to provide value. I'm going to provide reciprocity. I want to be around this. I want to be around this. I'll be in that community. I'll be in school giving the most value. Kareen won the school competition. She's got every product. She's on Project 500. She's on this. She's bought seminars. She's doing all this crazy stuff. But honestly, she was providing the most value. Andy's in that community every day. He's like, I see this chick everywhere. He doesn't do like live stuff like this right now, but he does in the school community. So you can join that. He's helping me build it, but he's like, I see her name everywhere. So he's like, how about you invite her down and Greg? I see Greg everywhere to do some big stuff with us. That's a big move. That's a big move. They're attracting big moves. They're attracting big breakthroughs. They're attracting the next level of their life. They're attracting it. Does that make sense? They're not even having to chase it because they're attracting it. And who knows where that takes you in life? There's no way for you to look up, like when I was 2019, when we started this business, I could have imagined, I had this big dream of it being bigger than a lot of these companies, going harder, us having warriors. I envisioned Christian Durant being here, Tim Rose, Nick Jordan. I envisioned you guys being here. But if I didn't have the courage, or if I didn't have the strength, or if I didn't have the big dream, or if I didn't lean in and have the winning mindset, and if I wasn't in control of myself, if I wasn't willing to look in the mirror and kill a weakness every day and fight with myself and go to war with myself, then I couldn't connect the dots to this new future. Like I couldn't say, if I do this, this is going to happen. That's not how the world works. That's not how the world works. Here's how it works. I can go back in my life and I can connect the dots to 2019 when I paid $997 for a seminar. I can go back to 2017 when I slept outside of a seminar. I can go back to 2020 when I was on every one of Andy's courses. I can go back to 2021 when I flew down to Oklahoma. I can go back to all these different things that added up to be big moments in my life. You know what's not going to happen in most of your lives? You're going to be faced with an idea like this, Bailey Clark. Bailey, we're going to make $10 million together. And here's how this $10 million is going to occur. Okay? Here's the life breakthrough. It's not going to happen like that. It's never happened to me. I don't know. I've never met anybody that's happened to them. It's a lot of these little choices that end up being the big things that change your life forever. These little choices that end up being the big choices that change your life forever. You have an invisible life on the other side of these little choices that if you make them, there's no certainty in that. And that's part of people's problem. Since they don't have certainty and it's a human need, they're like, man, I just don't know what's going to happen. Good. Jump, move, go. You can do it. Make the decision. 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 I don't have the money. Don't care. Make the decision. I don't have the time. Make the decision. I can't make the decision. Make the decision. Make the decision. If you do that, you're going to get to where you want to go. I assure you. And then lastly, make it fast. Make it fast. Man, I got to tell you guys this. I'm not like honestly, I'm just a business guy. I'm not like a guru. I don't even really like the word coach really, because so many people are just destroying that for us. I'm just a guy that's living the same life as you guys. And I've made some good choices. I've made some horrible ones. I've been to jail. I've been addicted to things. I've done all of the bad things in life. I've tasted what's good for me and what's bad for me. And I just know that everything comes down to these little choices. Everything comes down to the person that can develop the most makes the most. The person that can have the biggest relationships and the most relationships ends up having the happiest life. So if you can do these things and you can do them consistently, here's what I will tell you. It doesn't have to be 3 years till you get to your dream. It doesn't have to be 5 years. It doesn't have to be 10 years. You know, I've got 21, 22, 23, 24-year-olds that are 500 times further than me. And they like who they see in the mirror. So they're going to make more money and be happier than I was. That's the dream, man. You can do those things, but are you prepared to go through the fire for the next 3 or 4 months to unlearn a lot of things and then to learn a lot of new things? Are you prepared? If you're not, then you won't vibe with my call. You won't vibe with who I am because I'm prepared to die for this shit. There's that saying, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Like, how committed are you to really getting what you want to get? Your actions will tell us. It's only one thing. You can say all the shit you want, but if you're not coming to a seminar, you're not hitting that phone, you're not killing those weaknesses, you're not double downing on those strengths, you're not aggressively going back through the training system and studying all the videos. Some of you guys are in solar, but you won't study car sales and shit. I mean, bro, it'll make you creative. You're in insurance, but you won't go study door-to-door solar approaches. You don't go through the entire Andy Elliott personal vault. I can go through a lot of y'all's training records right now, and I can see that you've just like trained for like 7 or 8 hours in a month. I'm like, dude, I don't even know what to tell that person. I don't even want to reach out to them because I feel more embarrassed for them than they probably do. Like, I didn't even know how to have that conversation. Be like, hey, man, let's just think about your family. Let's just think about, I just don't know how to think like a 99 percenter. I know how to think like a 1 percenter, which is do the work. Shit's not going to go your way a lot of the times. Stay positive about it. Have a good mentality about it. Stay on track. And, if you get off track, it's okay. That's why you got a community. That's why we have school. That's why we have these things that we have. So ultimately, I'm grateful for you guys. You guys give a lot of value to my life. Honestly, this is usually better for me. My wife always says, your best days that you ever have is Twin Tuesday. She's like, because you're just on fire on those days. You're the most creative. And I'm like, honestly, it's because I got cool ass clients. I got like Ricardo Jimenez. I think, he's the guy that's adding value to you, right? He hit me up and he's like, hey, I want to work for you guys. I was like, well, what do you do? He's like, man, I video edit. I go, well, start editing videos for Jonan for free. And then if there's a way that you work here, or Franz or somebody, I'm like, then, we could maybe do some stuff. Like, who knows where we go in the future? But I know one thing. I do know, I am 100% sure. I don't know what the future holds for us all, but I know that can't we get there a lot better, a lot faster doing it together? But if you just got to get in the room, man. You got to get in these trainings. You got to get in the school. You got to get, down here. If you're coming down here, I'm going to give you Melanie's phone number. I'll give you my phone number and then I'll set you up with her. Hold on, because if anybody is coming down here, I want you to do something special with me. Like, I used to not do this a whole lot, but, I'm going back to the ground floor. If I used to have people over at my house and do all this shit, and then I had a bunch of weirdos and, so I was like, I ain't going to do that no more. But I'm like, fuck it, dude. If I die, somebody kills me or some shit, I got security now too. So that's okay. I got a little bit more money to vet some of you guys. They'll go through you guys before you even get down here. But if you want to come down to one of the seminars, you see in the chat, there's the game thing. You can do that. And then Proverb Mystery is, I don't know what that name is or whatever it is, but he's asked me if he can ask a question like 10 times. So hopefully it's not a dumbass question. Like cause there's nobody there. So who knows what it is, but Proverb, why don't you come off mute and then we'll answer his question. And then guys, before you go, I want you to know this. Oh, he just got out of there. Maybe he wasn't serious. Oh, here he comes again. All right. What I want you guys to know is you're so close to your dreams. You really are. You're so close. You're a commitment away. You're a discipline away. You're a little bit more energy away, and you're a couple connections away. And if you can understand that and continuously feed that, then man, things are going to just start. They're just going to start happening. And there's no way for me to tell you when they're going to happen. But I've watched this thousands of times. They just start to happen, and they just start to happen, and it's so cool to watch. So, anyways, Robert, what do you got, buddy?
Yes, so my question is that 1 year ago I just left my all friends because they just talk shit and they don't talk about growing ourselves and developing. So now I am all alone. So I want to ask that is it good to be alone if I don't find any person to have company for development and any
100%,
self-development and growth?
100%. Me and my brother only had each other as friends. And, since I'm a twin, I had him. But honestly, if I didn't have him, I would have probably hung around almost nobody. Now, until I got myself right. Now, also, you think that you're alone, but you're really not alone. There's hundreds of people here that you can connect with too. Like, that's why there's the school community. But also, know this, Robert, the better that you get, the better that you
Yes.
get, the more you're going to attract what you want. Right now,
Yes.
you could be a little bit of a piece of shit. It's just the truth. And if you get rid of some of those things and you start to become this person in your area, there are growth-minded people. You know where they're at? They're at the gym at 5 a.m. And you know
No.
what you need to do? You need to walk over to one of them and be like, hey, I see you at the gym. Hey, what's up, man? I'm Ian. Hey, nice to meet you, man. Hey, I'm going to send you this thing from the Elliott Group. You should check it out. They're my homies. And then, you know, you start creating relationships and then you start seeing these people. But I understand, man. I grew up with a lot of people that were not good for me, right? And then honestly, I wasn't good for them either. And what I had to do was I just needed to develop. Like you might need to go dark for 30 days, develop a little bit better, and then go find places where the growth-minded people are. There's business groups in every country, in every city. There's speaking groups where you can find these people who want to be speakers. Typically, that's somebody who's doing some shit with their life. They're called Toastmasters. Those are in every city. Like, dude, if you got in a couple of these little communities and you weren't trying to find them like in the clubs or bars or like you're doing things like that in progressive places, you're going to find good people.
Yes.
What
Okay,
country are
thank
you?
you. I am from India.
Okay, so like even in our community, you could drop where you're from in there. I'm building a page. Jonan's gonna have a page where it says meetups on the school, and then people can say, "Hey, let's meet up," and then they can say where they're at, and then hopefully we have some more people from India. You know, so anyways, greatly appreciate all of you guys. If you need anything, let me know.
Thank you so much.
No doubt, man. If you need anything, let me know. Remember, we got a couple of things coming up. We've got that Tony Robbins thing this weekend, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You can join that for free. The link is in there. You can join it in school. You can see me in there. School's the community I'm directly in every day. And then, you know, we have our September seminar coming up. We're almost, dude, we never sold out 3 months in advance. We're selling out like 3 months in advance for some of these things. So sometimes maybe you need to plan a runway. And you can always set up like payment plans, like put $200 to it and then pay the rest. But if you want to come in September, November, or December, or October, start planning that out. You know what I mean? If you need something, let me know. Also, I got questions and answers on a Saturday in that community, and that's where we can really, or maybe it's Sunday. It's one of the two, but that's where we can really dive deeper into some questions. We spend a lot of time doing that. So, anyways, grateful for you guys. Make sure you eat your protein so you can stay jacked. I got my protein right here. I'm ready to go. Make sure you eat your protein, you know, so that way we can be jacked like Bridget Workman. She's on here. You know, she's got some freaking guns, baby. She's ready to go. You know, she worked out today. Let's get it.